Let's unravel Geeta's world. Hello and welcome to the 80th episode of this podcast, which is called Geeta's World. But this is the very first episode in video.
Absolutely. After a lot of deliberations, conversations, Anna,
Yeah, we
a
finally.
lot of convincing, whether
From
if it
my
actually
end.
makes a difference to go video or not.
Yeah.
We have finally decided.
Yeah.
The reluctance, might I add, was on my end, not on Anna's. She was the one pushing us.
Yes.
We even did a poll with a few of our listeners, now
actually.
viewers as well.
Yeah.
Writing in to say that video does help. So let's see if
That's
it
true.
helps the experience of understanding foreign policy better.
Yeah.
We are willing to put in that effort. And thank you so much for all the responses. I
Yes.
hope you enjoy not just our audio podcasts, but now the
But-
video podcasts as well.
Yeah, and I'm sure this video format has definitely opened up to a newer audience who like to consume podcast and video, contrary to Geeta.
Yeah, because I drive when I'm
Yeah,
listening to most of
she's
the
always
podcasts.
driving, yeah. Very
So
convenient.
It's very convenient, and also you rest your eyes a little.
Yeah, definitely. But to all those who have tuned in for the first time, I'm Anna, by the way. I'm the host of this podcast. Been 80 episodes, but I feel like a newbie right now. And with me is Geeta Mohan. That's why Geeta's World, because she's the Foreign Affairs editor, and it's been 21 years in
Yeah,
this
more.
sphere.
Yeah.
21 and more. Okay, 21 and counting.
And counting.
Yeah, yeah. So, and yeah, by the way, we have done 80 episodes on different topics. So what I'll do is I'll list all the episodes links of Spotify, Apple, and wherever you get your audio content from. Those links will be added on the show notes of the description. Now, coming to the topic at hand.
Actually, I'm glad that we're doing a video for the first time on a topic very close to my heart, which is Pakistan.
Yeah.
And elections in Pakistan cannot get more interesting than it did this year.
Eventful.
It's like I said last time around when we were discussing, and unfortunately, I was so enthused about going to Pakistan and that I will be getting my visa.
And that's why we were actually
That's
thinking.
India, Pakistan, Anna.
Yeah.
It never happens when they say it will.
Yeah.
And the visas didn't come through. The administration had a rethink on whether they should be giving Indian journalists visas. Also, a lot of them had started tweeting 10 Indian journalists coming to Pakistan for the elections. I think that also did not really go down very well in certain quarters. Security also could have been a concern, but looking at the results, I'm thinking that the headquarters in Rawalpindi, I wish I was there, but Rawalpindi must be thinking, thank God the Indian journalists are not here, because they would have created, it would have been a bloodbath of sorts, you see, when it comes to coverage and the results. But a lot of people were saying, what is it going to look like? Is it PMLN, PPP? And I kept saying,
you kept saying, and that's what, yeah. And like I said, I mean, this is how I titled the last episode, whether the independence could be a spoiler for the establishment, and lo and behold,
how?
like how. Yeah.
And no matter what the permutation combination is, which we will be discussing, Anna, but the fact is that the single largest party is that of Imran Khan's. Although you can't call it a party, and PMLN has been going to town saying the same thing, that you can't call it a party because they fought as independents. And about 101
seats.
independents,
yes,
of which 93, see, all of them are not PTI backed. Some of them were actually independents, who fight normally as independents.
Yeah.
So 93 of them, apparently, according to some data, are PTI backed. So even if it's 93, they're the single largest party, and unfortunately,
but
they will be in the opposition.
Yeah, so the final tally is done, right? It's done amid lots of speculations and lots of being said about rigging elections pre and post. And so the PMLN has won 75 seats and the PPP, which is the third major party, has secured 54 seats. So none of the
And
parties
you have
have.
to mention MQM with 17,
Yes,
because unless
17.
and until you have that conversation with the MQM, they can't form government.
That's true, which is a main thing. And the amid all the accusations and everything, I think still there is a lot of confusion as to who exactly will form the government, and I think we'll sort of tackle that question.
Okay, Anna, before we get down to the conversation,
Yeah.
like always, it's tradition on Geeta's World for Anna to really begin with a primer of what this episode really is going to entail. So
Yeah.
let's
But
just tell
actually,
our listeners and our viewers exactly what this episode would be all about.
yes, thanks, Geeta. I think, like you mentioned, the vote share, the seat share, to form a government, a party must win 133 seats out of 265 contested seats in the National Assembly. And not to forget, there are 70 seats which are reserved, 60 for women and 10 for non-Muslims, and that those seats are equally important for the independents. And we'll try to explore that. Like we said, there's no single majority, and there's a lot of confusion as to what to make of this split election results. So in this particular episode, what we'll try to do is we'll try to understand, like, can Pakistan even form a government? And even as the final vote count was underway, there was Nawaz Sharif who prematurely, declared victory. And when no bloc is in the position to form the government, and there's the high number of independents, it has sort of created an unprecedented question, which is, what options do these independents have? And the coalition, what sort of coalition might emerge? That's also one of the major important questions, crucial questions. And does this election serve as a very stern message, as like we began the episode with, to the Pakistani military, urging them to refrain from meddling in politics, like should they stay in the barracks or should they come into the political sphere? We'll try to understand that. To begin with, Geeta, I think let's pick it up from here itself about the military, because there's a lot of rhetoric going on that, this is like a slap to the military, unparliamentary way of saying this. But we can actually start believing in Pakistan's democracy. But as I was consuming this news, as I was tracking the election results, I was actually thinking along this line. I was thinking that the army has very cleverly engineered, this sort of a hung assembly where the PTI independents are in the lead, because it believes that ultimately it can get these independents to defect. And that would be a bigger public embarrassment for Imran Khan, to see his people who claim to be so righteous defect to other parties while he's just sitting helpless in jail.
Well, Anna, there are a few things that have happened in these elections. One, a celebration of the people's mandate, the adult franchise, where people have voted irrespective of what the establishment wanted. Now, we know that and why do I say that? Because in 2018, the very same Imran Khan was propped up by the army.
Exactly.
And everything was made to work to ensure that Imran Khan wins. But he did carry a lot of weight. He did start this entire people's movement and brought a lot of people together. So the votes were not. There were reports of rigging, but it was not to the scale that we saw this time around, right? So he did manage to get people behind him. To the extent that this time around, when he is not the army's choice, the people are still standing behind him. The mandate is very clear. The single largest party is that of Imran Khan's. But they all fought not under the bat symbol, not as PTI, but as independents, since their bat was stripped off. The bat symbol was stripped off. And someone very interestingly had written in one of the columns that this is Imran Khan scoring nearly a century without a bat.
Wow.
Such a
lovely line.
Such a lovely headline to make. So he did score a 93 without a bat. A cricketer turned politician who's done wonders with his bat in the past and has done wonders in Pakistan today without a bat. We might not like his policies. We might like his policies. We might think he's a maverick of sorts, unpredictable, unreliable, all of that, whatever, each camp has views about him on. But you cannot deny him what the people have given him.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening over here. So look at the numbers. You have PMLN as the second.
Single largest. I mean,
Actually, it is the largest party because technically,
there's no party.
PTI,
Yeah.
they were not a party. So they are the single largest party. And PPP comes second. And then you have the MQN that they'll require to form an alliance. PPP has already been working. And nobody, in my last podcast, we were talking about Asif Ali Zardari. Nobody is a better negotiator than Asif Ali Zardari. They've already started making inroads, trying to get a few independents in. So is PMLN. They have upped their number, they're saying, by 3 more independent candidates. We do not know whether if they're PTI backed or just plain independents. Either way, it'll be very difficult to see the PTI faction per se break away or break, because this mandate is for the PTI. It is for Imran Khan. It's not just for them singularly standing. And they also realize the importance now, even if they sit in the opposition, they're going to be very, very strong, formidable opposition. I was saying this to in our television broadcast, and quite a few of them actually dissed my analysis, saying that, oh, well, you don't know, it's the army that's in control. And I said to them that it doesn't seem like it, and they wouldn't. And the next day, when the results started coming in, and I said, well, the independents have won, but army will still try to form their own government. Oh, you don't know. Then again, I was just saying that you don't know because the army has got, like you said, a slap in its face, and, the people have spoken, no matter what, there'll be chaos. Actually not. This is people's mandate. Government formation requires the halfway mark. Imran Khan also does not have the halfway mark. He's going to fight it out. Why? He's going to fight it out because in quite a few places where PMLN candidates have won, there is discrepancy. And which includes Nawaz Sharif, who had 2 seats that he was fighting from. He lost one, and the other one, which is Lahore, and everybody would have predicted it's his stronghold. He would have won smoothly, but that was not the case. Yasmin Rashid, sitting in jail, gave him a very difficult and a tough fight. And so he is now being, his entire candidacy is under question. So what happens over here? We are looking at tough negotiations.
Yeah, definitely.
Where PPP has a stronger hand.
Yeah, because
PPP has now said, we will form government if Bilawal becomes PM. Else
so that's what I was about to ask, whether, Nawaz Sharif has a lot at stake. And, very interestingly, like you mentioned, you were getting dissed at regarding the military's point of view. I was actually, why I say that, like why I believe that is actually, the military is still in the game, is because if you see the number of seats that, like PTI, of course, is out of the picture.
Of course, military is in the game, Anna. They got PMLN the numbers.
That's what I'm saying. Last time,
the ROs were blatantly flouting rules. They were not allowing journalists to monitor counting. Form 45 and Form 47s did not really match, which is one where you count how many people and how they voted. And Form 47 is the declaration of the results. And there was discrepancy there. So, of course, it was happening under the go-ahead and the green signal from the establishment, because they wanted respectable numbers for these people to form government.
Yeah, because
I wouldn't say PPP as much.
Yeah, I'll give you a decent number so that you still remain the puppet. I'll not, give you the power to any civilian government to basically give that much agency that in the future you might backstab me.
Also, it'll be very sad, because it is quite sad, because if Nawaz Sharif's winning ticket or seat has actually been won because of some sort of bungling, then he loses legitimacy. They are going to go to court. Yasmin Rashid is surely going to go to court. That's one place where I see Asif Ali Zardari really negotiating, saying that Nawaz Sharif can't become prime minister Because if he becomes prime minister and he loses the case, then it'll be an embarrassment for the entire alliance.
Yeah.
So if Nawaz Sharif is out, then why should we look at Shahbaz Sharif or anyone else? Then it should be Bilawal Bhutto Zardari. And so he's negotiating for Bilawal. Bilawal, in one show on Geo, had said to a question, this was before the numbers had started coming in, and they were quite confident. He said that to a question on whether if they're going to form coalition with PMLN, he said, you fool me once, it's your fault. You fool me twice,
It's my fault.
No, he said, you fool me once, shame on you. You fool me twice, shame on me.
Yeah.
And now they're going into a coalition government.
Wow.
So
This is the
this is
beauty.
politics. I mean, I'm not grudging. We're nobody to grudge anybody anything. They're looking at numbers. It's power. It's politics.
Yeah.
They want to be in power. Imagine at that age to become prime minister of a country.
True.
Even to become a deputy prime minister,
Yeah.
if not prime minister,
Yeah.
because then he might hold two portfolios, deputy and foreign minister.
Yes.
We don't know.
Yes.
But that's going to be huge for a young lad such as Bilawal Bhutto Zardari.
It's going to be huge, definitely.
Yeah.
And also about this aspect as to who will form the government. Like coalitions, of course, there are negotiations to be taken into consideration. But about the fact that how the independents will navigate this. So there are two main points. First is that if we are looking at a coalition, then PMLN and PPP, they have run a coalition government before this. But even if they join hands this time, they won't reach the halfway mark. So how is that going to?
No, so they're in talks with the MQM as well and independents. So they
that's how
do
MQM
have
comes in,
they could cross the halfway mark and form government, but the give and take is going to be so much.
Yeah.
Also remember, this is again a very unique situation. You know, there was a time when there were no other parties but PMLN and PPP.
PPP, yeah.
There was no one else. They were the rivals. Either this one would be in power or the other one would be in power with some coalition partners like JUI, so on and so forth, right? MQM, PMLQ.
Yeah.
But now, Imran Khan has become such a formidable force.
That's true, yeah.
That all of them have had to come together to form a PDM.
Last time.
People's Democratic Movement. And that is also now, they've revived that to for the coalition to form a government. So you have now a disruptor who has come into Pakistan politics, disrupted the entire system, questioned the army, questioned foreign interference in Pakistan, named and shamed America, including a specific, diplomat, and yet people, and in terms of economy, he does not have a great track record. Look at the Pakistani economy. But that's not only Imran Khan's fault, Anna. The economy of Pakistan is today where it is how it is not Imran Khan's fault alone. It's no civilian dispensation's fault at all, actually.
Because
unless and until the military goes back to the barracks and does what it does best, that's defend the country rather than form policies, there's going to be always this problem. So it's not his problem alone, but yes, he did really not focus on Pakistan's development, economy, so on and so forth, and was so focused on so many other things.
You're talking about Imran Khan, right?
Imran Khan. So this time around, they also come with that entire baggage of trying to revive the economy. It's going to be a Herculean task to get Pakistan's economy in order, no matter which government comes to power. And in all that, I think there is a moment, and despite that, people have faced inflation. People have faced malnutrition, hunger. And yet they're willing to vote Imran Khan is a big thing.
That's what.
Which means that they also understand that somewhere down the line, it's the military that's responsible for where the country is. And this is a mandate against the military,
Military.
the establishment.
Definitely.
So for General Asim Munir, it's a
Yes.
wake-up call.
Yes.
For the Pakistani establishment, it is a wake-up call. They no longer can think that they can go on doing the things the way they want to. Despite the May 9th agitation and the jailing, so on and so forth, and a massive security breach, massive. We can't even imagine that in India. But despite all of that, people have voted. So they still don't want the army to be controlling the country's politics.
Definitely. And so it means that you are kind of optimistic about the fact that this is a wake-up call for the military and things will actually change post this. That's what you're saying, right? Things will change or not? That's the question.
I don't think so, which is why I said that things might not change. It's the Pakistani military. Look, they've managed the numbers to get them to. They wanted a PMLN government. They've managed numbers for a PMLN government. The only thing is that I don't think PPP is going to play ball till they get what they want. And nobody's over here trying to listen to or succumb to anyone. The compromise will be large if you have Nawaz Sharif as prime minister because, like I said, his entire candidacy, his entire win itself is under question. And PPP, for that matter, has much fewer cases where people are questioning the wins. But PMLN, as a party and their candidates have a lot more of them, the contestants questioning the mandate itself or the results. So you have so many cases in court. Actually, it's going to be a very long-drawn affair. Even if they form government and if these others go to court, and they all have the Form 45s, they have the Form 45s to show. And if those seats are declared faulty or there's a recount.
Definitely. And I think the other aspect that I was actually coming at was when you said that there are some independents who are actually going to merge with to join a political party, but if the certain historically speaking, all the independents have actually merged with a certain political party, right? So if especially in provinces like Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, which PTI backed candidates swept that province, don't you think these defections, if those candidates go and join a particular coalition, which is in fact like PMLN, won't these defections then be like a big upsetter for the voters who have actually voted for those independents?
Isn't that always the case? Defection is always a betrayal of the trust of the people who voted you in, thinking you are standing in a certain place, you're standing with certain ideology, you're standing with certain politics, and you're standing with a certain man or a certain party. It always is the case, which is why in India the anti-defection law was brought in, so that individuals cannot betray parties and then they need a 2/3 to actually move out. Because when that happens, then the leaders are thinking for the people and saying, well, we are 2/3 of the party and we don't think this party any longer serves your purpose.
True, yeah.
That's why you have an anti-defection law, that individuals should not be, because then anybody can be bought.
Yeah.
It's all going to be a lot of money exchanging hands, a lot of threats of cases, a lot of internal skeletons in the closet that could come out in the open. So there is going to be a lot of gameplay right now. We'll have to wait and see how many independents actually turn. In fact, it's quite interesting. Barrister Gohar, who's now heading the PTI, has been constantly meeting Imran Khan, and Imran Khan has said no deal to anything. I'm not lauding Imran Khan over here for our viewers and our listeners.
No, this is not the tone that we're
It's not me saying that Imran Khan is great. It's me saying that respect the mandate of the people.
That's true.
The people want something. And it is not that they want Imran Khan alone, because thinking that he's a messiah who will turn things around for Pakistan economically. It's a mandate for the army. It's a mandate saying that you cannot do what you did. We were discussing it last time,
Yeah, precisely.
Anna, having cases of Tosha Khana, official secrets, which also I think, they were trying to expedite it to ensure that Imran Khan is behind bars, but they hid that case.
Mm.
Where dignity of a woman is in question. I don't think that went very well with the public. So when you go too far in persecuting a leader for your own gain and to ensure you're in power, I don't think I think it works in the reverse order to the detriment of the army. And I think there were self goals made by the Pakistani establishment. But all that I think to the better of Pakistan.
Yeah.
Whether it's going to change in this election, with this election or not, we'll have to wait and see. But I've seen that
It's definitely a stepper. Like
absolutely,
it's like, yeah.
because I've seen that the leaders, whether it's Nawaz Sharif or for that matter, Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, I've seen them get bolder in their entire campaign. If you remember, they were taking on the establishment. Nawaz Sharif, Maryam Nawaz,
Of course, we have
Shahbaz Sharif were openly talking about
Openly.
the establishment
And
and the
that's
military
when-
and that hum chup nahi baithenge.
Yeah.
And then her audio, a very nice sounding audio from the jail when she was incarcerated. So you have all of them who have raised questions. Now they come. For Nawaz, it is going to become a little untenable because you're coming with at the mercy of the army again.
And
You have won
definitely
at
a
the mercy of
baggage.
the army. So for PPP, you are a baggage, right?
Yeah.
The others might not be. In all probability, they've won Punjab too. You see, so Pakistan has two levels of election. One is the National Assembly,
Yes.
and then the 4 provinces also went to election. Punjab, PMLN is going to form government.
Yeah.
So the question is whether if it's going to be Maryam Nawaz. And in Punjab also, might I add, PTI did brilliantly.
Yes, exactly.
They did brilliantly.
Yeah,
So,
they-
Maryam Nawaz has ambitions, chief ministerial ambitions. So, is Shahbaz getting prime minister? So she can become chief minister. PPP is unrelenting. This is just the first round. These conversations are going to go on for a while for them to really come to the table and say, well, this is the allocation, and we
and this
agree.
is how, yeah.
Because for now, I think Asif Ali Zardari is
I think it's the main man.
and he's quite determined to have his son become prime minister.
Yeah. So he's not back.
He will actually be making history.
Yeah. So what if,
by becoming the youngest, I think. I don't think Benazir also, by becoming the youngest prime minister.
so which means that by hook or by crook, we will have a PM candidate from the coalition of PMLN and PPP, which will be either Mr. Shehbaz Sharif, Mr. Nawaz Sharif, or Mr. Zardari, Bilawal Bhutto Zardari. So, of course, what kind of the negotiations and at what stake and what are the stakes that will be compromised? I think these are the things that we'll have to watch out for. But just lastly, as we go, last week also, Geeta, we discussed about India and how you said that in the elections, if you see, Pakistan doesn't emerge as much as it would do probably like 10 or 14 years back, which I think our focus towards China is also one of the major reasons that Pakistan doesn't come much in the electoral strategies or like campaigns that we have here in India.
No, we used to be quite focused on Pak terror.
Earlier.
Let's see what we have in store for the coming elections. You see, in the state elections, they might not have focused as much, but general elections, Pakistan normally figures. But you're right. In the recent past, in some of the bordering states like Rajasthan and all, it would have figured in the past. It did not.
Yeah.
Which is what we discussed last time.
Exactly. The question that I wanted to ask you was that people have been saying that a Nawaz Sharif-led government in Pakistan would be beneficial for India because of the various other reasons that we have mentioned, the previous tenure and the equation he shared with Prime Minister Modi. But it's interesting to note that if the civilian government in Pakistan is in favor of maintaining good relations with India, then wouldn't that be like a tough pill to swallow for the establishment in Pakistan, which is the military? Nawaz Sharif is also a changed man. He went out as the military's enemy and has returned as the candidate of the establishment. So, would it still be right for us to assume that Nawaz Sharif's government, if all goes to their plan, will be good for India?
Well, no matter how much a Pakistani politician changes or a Pakistani leader, unless and until the mentality of the Pakistani military changes towards India, there's no change. A lot of people have said, and we discussed this last time also, that Nawaz Sharif, they say, could be the best bet for peace between India and Pakistan. And he did make some bold initiatives, when he met Prime Minister Modi in Ufa. Kashmir wasn't mentioned. He was punished quite harshly for it by the military establishment. So he might want to take a few steps. But at the end of the day, all that we see when it comes to India Pakistan is a meeting happens and then it's followed by a big, huge terror attack. So, Pakistani establishment uses terrorism as an instrument of state policy. No matter who sits in that seat, till the time the Pakistani establishment controls that seat itself, there can be no peace. And that's what India has said, that while, there are overtures and all. And look, like you said, Nawaz Sharif is a changed man. Yes, he is changed. In the past, he would not have focused so much on Kashmir when it comes to India. But this time around, he said, I want peace with my neighbors, provided India reinstates the revoked provisions of Article 370, which is not going to happen, and which is not going to happen.
It's very oxymoronish.
But maybe the middle path could be statehood of Jammu and Kashmir, and then they come to the talk. But look at the kind of conversations. Every leader thinks it is good to be a hard line with India, to be hawkish on India. Imran Khan was doing it on Kashmir on Article 370. He made it a point to go to every international platform, forgot about his own country's woes, and only focused on Kashmir. He could have done so much more with that platform, talking about how to, revive Pakistani economy. Did not do that. Bilawal Bhutto Zardari has been focusing so much on Kashmir and Article 370 because he thinks that's a poll agenda now, and it does garner votes to act tough against
ahead
India.
of G20, there
Nawaz
was a lot
Sharif
of
has done the
statements.
same thing. He came back and he said, we want to have friendly relations with our neighbors, with India, including India, but they will have to do something about Article 370. While they might think that that's a cause close to their heart, that certainly is going to be a deal breaker for India, one. Secondly, for them to focus and harp on Kashmir has done Pakistan no good. India also mentions and raises concerns of Kashmir on international platform, but not at the cost of its own country agenda. The country agenda has to be above one particular issue with a country. So with Pakistan, we do discuss terrorism, we do raise concerns about terrorism, Kashmir, but in that platform, in that multilateral space, we focus more on how to become bigger, how to get connectivity through trade, how to become a country that helps, a first responder to the neighborhood. These are the conversations that India is holding. And whereas Pakistan comes and in every space is not holding these conversations, they are harping on Kashmir. It has done them no good. So they need to know where to balance and how to balance things out. This administration will have to learn and will have to see whether if they're going to be subservient to the military, which I suppose, given the fact that the military is the reason why they are in power, they will be. But should they decide not to, should the PPP take a bolder step, Asif Ali Zardari has the rare honor of completing his entire presidential term, which has never happened in any in Pakistan. A rare feat. So we know that he knows how to balance things between the military and still work as a civilian dispensation. So one will have to really wait and see how this really pans out for Pakistan.
Yeah.
For now, it seems that the military is not going anywhere.
Right.
But it does seem like Imran Khan, without his bat, is also not going anywhere.
Yeah.
This cricketer turned politician has turned the wheel now of change in Pakistan. Whether people like him or not, you have to at least acknowledge the fact that he's the reason why people have actually risen to question the army.
Very true. Very rightly summed up. I think the two main protagonists, General Asim Munir and Imran Khan, were of this particular election. And like you said, like you very rightly said, it is a wake-up call. In I don't know in what magnitude, but definitely.
But the court cases are going to be interesting to
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
Few things over here that we should leave you with.
Yeah.
Court cases are going to be very interesting to see, not just of the election
Rigging and everything.
malpractices,
Yeah.
but also of Imran Khan's cases.
He's been
was convicted in 3 cases,
Yeah.
but got bail
Out
in
of-
12 other cases to do with a more serious charge of the May 9th violence.
Yeah, that's true.
So are things turning? Let's wait and see. So these are the two, areas in the courts that one should be monitoring, and in the political space on the negotiations, who's getting what, given the numbers, is going to be very interesting. It's a very interesting play of things in the next few days or weeks to come.
Yeah, definitely. And like Geeta and I always do, we'll definitely keep a tracker on these major geopolitical developments that happen in this realm. And we'll keep bringing you such amazing, very informative episodes that like we always do. 80 episodes, first episode in video. I hope it was okay.
It was great, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, who's to judge? And, not the person.
We'll get our
Yeah.
viewers to let us
Yeah,
know.
to just let us know and leave your comments. It's very easy on YouTube. You can actually. Otherwise, I would have told you to write.
You
write
still have
us.
to for
No,
our
I have to. I
podcasters.
have to. I have to. Yeah. So, but then to all those who are actually watching us and who have tuned in for the first time, let us know how this particular episode was. Also tune in to our previous episodes so that you get the gist as to what are the kind of topics that we touch in Geeta's world. And do leave in your comments and like, share, and to all the listeners and to all the viewers as well, leave in your comments. We have an email ID and we have a phone number. The number is 8588966996 and the email ID is pods@indiatoday.com. Do share in and we'd love to hear your feedback so that we can also read it in our episode.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.